Most small business owners are not getting more business from their website is because they don't have any goals for their website. They have a website, and that was a goal in and of itself, and it's like, now I got my darn website. You mean I got to do something else? I mean, gosh, give me a break. But you got to have goals for your website, and what should your goals be? Well, I can't tell you what your goals should be, but as a digital marketer, the way I measure myself in everything I do for myself and my clients is I need to at least be able to show month-over-month improvement or period-over-period improvement. So whether it's quarter-over-quarter, year-over-year, month-over-month, however you want to look at it, my goal in life is, and the team that I used to have that worked for me, they laugh because I always referred to it's got to be up and to the right. So when you're looking at your charts, on a timeline on the bottom, and the vertical axis is results, it has to be up and to the right. I mean, that's just the only way to run a business, right? And so I've just been a big believer of setting goals. Now, I'm giving you an example of a couple of different things with regards to your website. So with your website, and this includes your website, your blog, your social media, the whole shoot and match, right? But at the end of the day, everything comes down to your website. And so right now, each of you has to, and if you don't, hopefully you have Google Analytics or something like that, or you have a webmaster that can tell you this. But at the end of the day, the biggest question for anybody with a website is how many visitors do you get per month, right? I mean, how many visitors do you get? And again, I've had the opportunity to look at a lot of design, build, remodeling contractors over the past few months, and I've seen stuff anywhere from 125 a month up to like 3,500 or more. And again, like I said earlier, the person with 3,500 visitors a month has a bigger net or a better net, and the person with like 125 has a smaller net or not that good of a net. But at the end of the day, whether your number is 125 a month or 3,500, if you're serious about digital marketing, the objective is like month over month, I want to show some improvement. I want to do better because, and this is obviously true if you're trying to grow your business, which, some people are and some aren't. I mean, I run into people that say, hey, Ken, I don't care about digital marketing because, to be honest with you, I'm not trying to scale my business. And I'm like, hey, I get it, right? You've got it to a place and it makes you happy. But hopefully if those of you on the call are thinking to yourselves, if I could just get a little more business out of my website, if I could automate more things, spend a little more time with my clients, and maybe spend a little more time with my family, life would be good. So there's 3 areas that really matter in business as it relates to the internet. The first one is traffic. And so if you haven't done this already, first thing you need to do is look at your Google Analytics and figure out what is my monthly traffic on average, give or take a buck. And then, with the rest of the stuff that I'll be sharing with you in this workshop or this webinar, you got to think about, well, I'd like to see a 10% month-over-month increase. So if I'm starting from 100, that means next month I need to be at 110, and the following month I need to be at, I think that's 121, and so on and so forth. So you should have a visitor goal for your website, and it should be increasing every month. It shouldn't be like, well, I'm at 100 now, and if I get to 200, I win the day. Well, yeah, okay, you do, and that might be enough to give you a lift in your business, and you're happy, and you never do anything more. That's awesome. But again, what I do is I challenge myself to just every month to try and get a little bit better, and maybe I'm psychotic, but and it's just like I said, it's the game of the internet. It's fun for me. And I can, and you can do it, and I can do it, and there's nothing I love more than beating Google, getting more visitors to my website, having them convert to leads, and getting a new client, and then doing well for that client. The second thing in your website, the second goal you should set for your website is how many leads are you getting from your website each month. And this gets a little bit trickier because if you don't have conversion goals set up in your Google Analytics, you're like, I don't really know. I mean, people call me on the phone. I get an email. Sometimes I remember to ask, how did you find out about my company? Sometimes I forget. And if that's you, you're like most people, right? You're not a laggard. You're right in the middle of the pack. But if you're serious about making your website help you drive your business, then you need to figure out like how many visitors are I getting and how many leads am I getting. So when I started working with Dan, those are my questions. I could see Dan's traffic. He gave me access to his Google Analytics. So I said, Dan, here's how many visitors you get every month. How many leads do you get? And Dan had to go into other applications that he uses to fish that number out, which is fine. However the heck you have to get it, but get it. So he was able to fish out that number and come up with a number. And he said, this is about how many leads I get in an average month with an average amount of traffic. So then I had a traffic number for him, and then I had a leads number for him. And then from his leads to visitors, I could figure out what his lead conversion rate was. And then I said, Dan, so these are how many leads you're getting. How many sales do you get in a given month? And again, Dan had to go into other software that he uses and kind of fish around and dig around. And then he came back out and he goes, it's not perfect, but I looked at the last year, and he goes, on an average, it's about this. So with that exercise, Dan and I were able to figure out that on an average month with an average number of visitors, he got X number of leads, which was X percentage rate conversion to leads, and from those leads, X number of those turned into sales, and that was his lead to sales conversion rate. Or you could even do sales into visitors, and you could get 1%. So one sale out of 100 is 1% conversion rate. But it's the conversion rates which are where the rubber meets the road in digital marketing, right? It's not how many people like you on Facebook or how many people read your blog post. I mean, that's important, and those are key performance indicators that lead to the ultimate goal. But the only reason I have a website and the only reason I'm on social media is because I can make money doing it. Because if it wasn't for those two things, I'd probably shut down the internet and move to Honduras, where my wife is from, and we'd live on a little grass hut on the beach in the Caribbean for about 80 grand for the lot, believe it or not, and I'd be done with this stuff. But you know what? You manage these numbers, you can grow your business, you can scale your business, and for some of you someday maybe even want to sell your business. So the number two thing is, you don't have any goals, and so my recommendation is, starting point is look at your traffic, figure out what it's at, and set a goal for, increasing month over month, and maybe it's 5% or 10, but do that. Look at how many leads you get in an average month from your website, and then figure out, what that is as a percent of your traffic, and then say, maybe I'm going to go from 5% to 7%. But set some goals, and that'll motivate you to really implement the rest of the stuff that I'm going to share with you as we keep going on.